They told you he was born into wealth. They showed you the castles, the crowns, the ceremonies, but they never told you about the price. The silence behind palace walls, the man rebuilding a fortune from divorce ruins, the king dying richer than his mother while his kingdom crumbles. This isn't about royalty. It's about the math we don't question. The inheritance we call destiny. The crown that costs more than gold. You know his face, you've seen the portraits, but you've never seen the ledger. In the last 3 years, one man's wealth jumped from $100 million to over $2 billion. Not from work, not from genius, from a mother's death. While nurses worked double shifts, while teachers bought their own supplies, a fortune changed hands in silence. Tax-free, no headlines, just legacy. King Charles III sits at number 238 on Britain's rich list. Strange, isn't it? The King of 16 Realms barely cracks the top 250. You'd think a king would be richer, unless the title itself is smoke. A performance of power while the real wealth hides in estates and duchies and art collections nobody can see. This is the story they don't teach in textbooks, not the fairy tale version. The one where a 76-year-old man fights cancer while tucking away millions. Where jewels aren't just pretty, they're profit. Where a castle isn't a home, it's an asset class. Right now, somewhere in Buckingham Palace, there's a room you'll never enter. Inside, accountants calculate things that don't appear on any public document. Investment portfolios, private jewels, stamp collections worth more than most people's homes. This is the invisible economy, the kind that doesn't need quarterly reports, doesn't answer to shareholders, just bloodlines. Every year homes get smarter, but the decisions around wealth, they get more invisible, because here's what they won't. I'll tell you about King Charles. After his divorce from Diana cost him $21 million in 1996, he didn't panic. He calculated. Took profits from the Duchy of Cornwall, tucked them away. Quietly, methodically, no press releases, no apologies. Just decades of compound interest on inherited land. And when his mother died, he inherited $500 million more. Real estate, racehorses, art. A stamp collection valued at $125 million. You read that right. Stamps. Now, while families chose between heating and eating, a man inherited stamps worth 9 figures. This is the wealth that doesn't make noise, it just accumulates. Generation after generation, protected by tradition, shielded by ceremony. And here's the twist. The Crown estate, worth over $28 billion, doesn't even count toward his personal wealth. Neither does the Duchy of Lancaster. Those come with a job, tools, not assets. Which means when you see that $2 billion number, that's just what he personally owns. The tip of an empire built on colonization, conquest, and carefully worded legal exemptions. No capital gains tax for duchies. No inheritance tax when the crown changes heads. Rules written by power for power. While you pay tax on your grandmother's jewelry, kings inherit kingdoms tax-free. The media calls it tradition. Economists call it structural inequality. And Charles, he doesn't call it anything. He just banks it. But look closer at the man. Behind the math. Since taking the throne, his fortune grew by £30 million in a single year. Not from policy, not from innovation, from existing, from owning land his ancestors seized centuries ago, from rents collected on properties no tenant can refuse. This is passive income on a scale most people can't imagine. Wealth that breathes. On its own. And what does he do with it? Well, there's the Prince's Trust. $70 million in grants over a decade. Sounds generous until you realize that's less than 4% of his current net worth. Less than what most billionaires donate yearly, and still, he's celebrated for it. Because when you're royal, the standards shift. Charity isn't measured by percentage. It's measured by perception, by photo ops with underprivileged youth, by speeches about sustainability while flying private. And here's where it gets personal. The same year Charles added $30 million to his wealth, Britain saw its largest strike waves in decades. Nurses, teachers, rail workers, all demanding wages that match inflation. While the king's fortune climbed, food bank usage hit record highs. 1 in 7 families going hungry in the 6th largest economy on earth. 2 realities, same kingdom. The media rarely connects these. Dots. They'll show you the coronation, the golden carriage, the ceremony costing taxpayers over £100 million, but they won't show you the single mothers choosing between electricity and meals the same week, because that would require asking uncomfortable questions. Like, why does one family get to own 45,000 acres when housing is a crisis? Why do duchies exist in 2026? Why inherited wealth compounds tax-free while earned income gets sliced at every level? They call it a constitutional monarchy. But strip away the ceremony, and it's just old money protecting itself with crowns instead of corporations. Charles didn't choose this system. He was born into it. But every year he doesn't dismantle it, he endorses it. Every investment portfolio that grows, every estate that stays private, every tax exemption quietly maintained, that's a choice too. And here's the thing that gets me. King Charles has spent decades talking about sustainability, about climate change, about the environment. He's written books, given speeches, positioned himself as the eco-conscious royal, and yet his wealth sits in the same structures that drove colonization, that extracted resources from continents, that built fortunes on exploitation. You can't sustainability your way out of structural violence. You can't plant trees and call it justice when your wealth comes from seizure. This isn't about hating Charles personally. It's about seeing the math they hide behind pageantry. It's about understanding that when one person's net worth is nearly double his mother's just 3 years after her death, that's not success. That's inheritance without accountability. It's about asking why we celebrate this, why we watch The Crown on Netflix and call it entertainment instead of education, why we let one family symbolize a nation while living by entirely different rules. Because this is where the story turns. From spectacle to mirror, from Charles to us. We built this, not with crowns or castles, but with silence, with acceptance, with the quiet agreement that some people just deserve more, that bloodlines matter more than effort, that inheriting billions is somehow less offensive when it comes with a title. We watch the documentaries, share the memes, debate whether Meghan was treated fairly or Harry should have stayed quiet, but we don't debate the foundation, the system that says one family gets permanent wealth while millions work 3 jobs and still can't retire. That's not drama, that's design, and Charles knows it. Every calculated investment, every duchy profit quietly reinvested. Every year he stays silent on tax reform while his accounts grow. He knows this isn't ignorance, it's strategy. The same strategy that kept monarchies alive through revolutions. Give them ceremony, give them tradition, give them something to photograph, and they won't ask about the vaults. But here's what keeps me up at night. Charles is 76, fighting cancer, running out of time, and still the system doesn't bend. William waits in the wings with his own fortune building, George after him, an assembly line of inherited power that never requires merit, never demands innovation, just birth order and patience. This is the trillionaire life that never was. Because Charles isn't a trillionaire, he's not even close, but the system he represents, the one that turns colonization into real estate, theft into legacy, seizure into stamps worth 9 figures. That system is worth more than numbers can hold. It's worth our silence, our acceptance, our willingness to call this normal. So before you go, hit that subscribe button, because we don't just review wealth, we expose it. From the hidden portfolios to the tax exemptions to the inheritance rules they hope you'll never question. We connect dots the media leaves scattered, from palace balance sheets to food bank lines, from coronation costs to nurse strikes. This isn't about hating royalty, it's about understanding power, how it moves, how it hides, how it rebuilds itself generation after generation while calling it tradition. So hit like, tap subscribe, and join thousands of smart thinkers who already know. Understanding wealth isn't about envy, it's about seeing the math behind the mythology, the ledger behind the legacy, because every crown has a cost and someone always pays it. The question is, will you keep footing the bill, or will you finally ask, who decided this was fair?